Anyway, welcome to another little ditty of Evor's Guitar Universe. And today, we will dissect scales. I'm going to show you every position, the way I look at them on the fretboard. And they won't necessarily always be starting on the tonic note. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to go all natural notes. We're going to keep it in C. And for the very limited theory I'm going to give you this time, the relative minor of C, which means they both have no sharps or flats, would be A minor. So this is kind of a study C major, A minor type deal. So you'll be able to play over that chord. All them notes are in the key of C, and I was accenting notes that go over that A chord. We'll get into theory next time, or maybe a couple times ahead, a couple videos ahead. We'll analyze that stuff, and then you will know how to build the flux capacitor. Boom. All right, so let's get right down to it. I'll show you the way I look at the key of C major and A minor, and all them patterns that occur on your neck board. And I do it this way for a reason, because there's reoccurring patterns, so your brain will reoccurrently see these patterns in everything that you do. No matter what key you're playing, you'll see them in arpeggios, you'll see them in licks that other people are doing, you'll see them up linearly on the fretboard and not just stuck in a block position. And I will explain those things as we move forward in each video and some of this one. So we'll get right down to some of that stuff. And I will show you the first pattern, which is up near the first fret, and it moves through to the third position, meaning your index finger will be either first fret or the third fret. So let me go and show you this pattern. All right, so we start on the note F. If you wanted to, you can do the open E, but I like to keep them to 3 notes per string, stuff like that. It's like a shredder thing. So let me go show you this one. All right. And just for my buddy's a musician here. He's the camera guy. I'm going to end on the tonic on this one, so that way it sounds like you're playing in C. Because I don't necessarily always end or start on the tonic. I just want to know all the notes I can play in that key. So start on the F. All right, so that's the first pattern in the key of C. I ended on C too. Some people were real serious about that because they want you to hear the note of the chord, the note of the key. But I'm not looking for that because I know how it sounds. I'm looking for finding all my notes up and down on the fretboard in that key. So now we'll go to the third position. We'll start on the Okay, and we will move forward to the next pattern. The next pattern, you could consider that A minor because I'm starting on the A. So you'll really hear that dark, somber tone of A minor, yeah, which is... Let me start again. Coffee today so far. It's some really strong stuff. I even got it in this cup. Check this out. Woo! You know it's strong when there's some crossbows on it. Oh my god. What's it say? Drink if you dare. Okay. So, now, we'll get right back into it here. While I still have an attention span, and we'll do this at the 7th fret. Right? So we're going to start on the B. You can even break these down like I'm playing in modes. So that's sort of what a jazz player would look at, or even like a fusion improv player, because that's sort of what I do. I like improv a lot, so I learn my scales this way. All right. So. So I'll play it one more time for you guys. I've been playing them only once. I'll slow down in a second. Right, there's all kinds of miracles happening here. Because you'll start seeing these patterns. This pattern, see how my fingers are? There's this pattern, right? There's this pattern, right? And they all reoccur over and over and over again in 1-string groupings, 2-string groupings, 3-string groupings, and they even are like reoccur over the arpeggio. Like, check out the pattern I just played. And now I'm going to be able to go right into an F major arpeggio in this pattern without even moving. Right, so and right there's E minor. So like that's why I'm doing these patterns like that, because it fits every part of the guitar together and unlocks this big giant secret, so you can finally build the flux capacitor. You got it? All right. Now, go back. We'll do the 8th position C major. That actually starts on C. Let me slow down. If I had a favorite pattern in C major, that would be it. And like, I think there's like 3 or 4 Paul Gilbert licks that are in this, and they're just really cool. And I'll show you them next time. Make you guys wait. No, it's just a cool pattern, really cool pattern in C major, and I haven't warmed up on my picking yet. And Paul Gilbert's just such a great picker, so I'm good at legato stuff. Like, I have to work for my picking. So now you guys all know my weak spot. So I don't want to play the Paul Gilbert licks right now and embarrass myself with sloppy picking. I figured it was so cool that later on I could show you when I'm warmed up, and then you guys don't know my weakness. All right, now the next pattern of C major, I'm going to play in the 10th fret. And this one I used to mess up a lot when I played it slow. The camera guy knows. For some reason, I don't know why I messed this pattern up. But I got to see it really good on the higher strings because I got my own licks in this pattern. But we'll just play it for you guys. It's a really cool pattern because it goes right to the 12th fret. And I like that a lot to play like A minor arpeggios and stuff like that. So. God, there's so many things you can do with this. And amped on coffee like I am, I just see everything that I like doing and stuff on the fly that it just connects everything. Like, I didn't used to look at my scales like this. This was more like within the last few years I sort of looked at my scales this way. I'd always started on the root note, keep it in that, or I'd extend the scale. And you don't need to. You can extend the scale if you know all these patterns. And I'm about to show you the last one before it repeats, right? And I'll show you the repeating one because we started at the first fret and we're just about there now. So we think of this as open strings, right? So it's just an octave up. So let me play this last one, then you'll see the first one I started at repeated an octave higher. And then it just goes so forth, and then there's no secret up here. It's all the same. So you can keep practicing them all the way up to there. And I'm sure you guys can put that together because I'm not a rocket scientist, but I'm sure that there's other guys out there better in theory and putting things together than me. So, all right. Now, if I wanted to look at it and I just started on that string and I was sticking on tonics like I used to, that would be A minor, right? So let me repeat it from the way I look at it. So that way I get the extra, 3 notes? So I'm getting the E, the F, and the G at the 12, 13, 15 fret. But you don't have to move your pinky if you go like that. Yeah, but I like to go like that. There's a time when I like to use this kind of finger pattern, and there's a time not. It's usually when I'm up here and I got these notes, right here. And I'm right here with this pattern. So I'm sure you've seen this pattern a lot, right? If you go back through these scales, I'm going to start explaining them a little bit. Because the next scale is just repeated from the first. Right? That's what we started with in the beginning. That's what we started with in the beginning. So you guys know all the patterns now, the way I look at them, or if you broke them all down and looked at this even more complicated, like some players will, you want to maintain starting on a root for the scales for some reason, unknown to me now at this point. If you want to do that and not see your neckboard connect properly, you would look at it as 6 patterns. But there's so much more. And we look at them as modes. I just went through all 7 modes, okay? Because I started on the low E string. So I'm doing Ionian. I'm doing Dorian. I'm doing, because they're all lined up, with the 7 patterns. You're just starting on a different note. Everybody makes a really complicated mess out of all this when really the modes you're just playing a scale and starting on a different note. If you're playing Ionian mode, right, and then the next one will be Dorian, you just be starting on D rather than C. Do you know what I mean? Or if you're starting on low green, or you can look these up. And they go in order of the 7 notes, and you're just starting on the second note of the scale or the third note of the scale. If we're thinking in C, you'd be starting on one of them 7 degrees, and they'd be naming it something, so you know what it's called. You're just accenting different notes over each chord. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know if the camera guy was getting my face or he just kept the. Okay, I've been looking down at the ground. I thought you had the fretboard. Well, look, it takes a while for me to think anyway. But, it depends on what notes you're accenting over the chord you're playing in. So say I was keeping it all natural. Here's your theory. I'm just going to throw it out there so you guys get it. Because this is how saxophone players, and jazz players and all them look at it. Because sometimes their chords, especially if they're like doing bebop or something, that stuff, those chords are passing real fast. They're going like 200 beats per minute or something like that. So they don't look at it all individual chords or like this, or they do, but they're looking at the chord they're going to land on to resolve their passage. Right? It's about musical passages. We're talking like I am right now, and we're making a language in sound, in musical notes. So if I'm playing, say, an A chord, right, depending on A minor or whatever, if we're just doing the bar chord and not playing the third note, which would be you count 3 notes up from A and you find the third. If it's a seventh, you count 7 notes from the A and you find the note. But that's what I'm getting to. They're called guide tones, and jazz players look at those. They play over the key, and they look at the guide tones, and then that way they can play outside the key and this and that, and they always sound right because they're emphasized at the end of their passage one of those guide tones, the third or the 7th note of the chord. So if I end up on C, right, even if I'm playing the power chord and not accenting any third, right, my guide tones for that would be E or it would be B, right? So sorry. So I'm going to be thinking about that E note or that B note if I resolve at the end of that chord, or if I'm playing notes over that chord. I'm thinking those 2 notes, and then all the others are abstract. You get it? But that's kind of like when I went to college, what they would teach me in improv. So you're going to accent the guide tones. You're going to be looking to emphasize the guide tones for melodic tendency, and then if you're just playing in the key and then chords show up, if we take all natural notes and we play in C, we're going to think C would be the first, so it's a major chord, right? C major. And D would be D minor, right? That would be a 2 chord. The 3 chord would be E minor. The 4 chord would be F major. 5 would be G. 6 would be A. And then the 7 would be diminished. Yeah, which will resolve to what? I could probably play that a bunch of different ways. I could probably even do that. Right? Yeah, so I would probably go. Because I don't like to play diminished chords very much, so I'm a rock guy. But we're trying to resolve the tritone, right? Right? So we're going to think about what notes we're going to accent over them. That's all. So if we're doing it in E, right? So C. So now if I'm ending a passage on that E chord, right, I'm going to think about the 3rd and the 7th of G, right? So I know G is going to be the light up note. And I don't have a ditto or a looper pedal to show you how these sound. But if you play these chords on your looper pedal, or record them and play over them, or get a backing track on YouTube, you're going to see that the 3rd and 7th of each chord, everything resolves to really nicely. And then you'll know more how to play in that key, and just knowing the patterns too. I know I got away from scales to talk about that a little bit, but it's not really a big mystery to me. I can get more thorough into it, and with less coffee, I'll be able to talk about them more clearly for you, because I get a little jumbled up with a lot of coffee. I love coffee, but they're better for me to play over chords and improvise rather than talk about doing it. So, but to speak about some of these patterns I just showed you, you got 3 basic patterns. We're not even going to talk about notes right now. So we got this. I like to look at it in 3 notes per string. I mean, you can look at it in more. I mean, and find it in more if we just take one string, right? You're going to see these same patterns this, or if you're higher on the neck board, some people look at it like that. Or you take that, right? So if I wanted to do a run, like say Yngwie Malmsteen or something up the neck, I can just look at these. I can start here because this is the end of this pattern, right? So let's take all these high string notes, right? You see? Get it? I'm going through every pattern we just went through. The last string. Right? Say I do it like Yngwie. No, I want to do it. Right? So, picking Not Warm or Not. You get it, right? It all sounds like the same thing. If I take 2 of them strings, right? That'll sound something like Paul Gilbert would have done back when he was young. Yeah. So if I was to take 2 notes per string, I'm looking. People are picking up what I'm putting down, right? Now, what if I just do it here? I'll do my string. Right? I'm just playing those. So, how would it go? Sounds like something out of Eddie Van Halen's Hot for Teacher or something. I think he does something around like that. But now, hopefully you can see that. Putting all them patterns together, you can get cool things like that. And that's kind of how I built some of my chops, along with learning some other people's stuff. But you can just take these patterns, or just don't be so boring. Me and my partner here, we were talking about doing them in different ways, picking even or melodically. You know, you can work on your picking with them by just like playing more than one note, like a tremolo exercise per note. You know, you can spice these up a little bit. You know, just and work on, or you can do it 4 notes. So you don't have to just play it straight rigid where you do triples. However you want to do that, you can do that and play 3 notes up. I'm sorry, 6. Back 2. Back 2. But anyway, we'll get more into that next time. I'm going to get a little off the bass because, I had too much coffee and my fingers hurt. I want to do like legato chops today, so I'm going to work on some of that for myself and some arpeggios for myself. I got some cool stuff coming. Hopefully this helped you guys with your scales and with the way you view them on your fretboard. It will connect the puzzle, I promise. Just memorize all them, and we'll get into more stuff about that. Have a great day, guys.